Alright, this one's been in the works for a while and I announced it kind of a long time ago. I wanted to make a scenario that keeps the Z-Fighters relevant somehow, and you guys voted on seeing it too. This one's actually going to combine a few previous scenarios. Specifically, what if Chi-Chi was a Z-Fighter, what if Roshi wished for youth, and what if Piccolo got Kaioken, with a little bit of some others sprinkled in there. I wanted to buff everybody here, but not just make them Saiyans. That would be kind of boring in my eyes. This way we get to keep everyone unique and also relevant. The main goal here is to have them all keep up with Goku and whoever other Saiyans are in the cast at that point. Not that I know because I don't know how this story's gonna go. We'll be seeing that if the series continues. So let's set a goal of 4,000 likes. If we do reach that, then I'll continue this into a full series. The hardest part was trying to figure out a title for the scenario. And let's be honest, the more algorithm friendly title would be what if the Z-Fighters grew like Saiyans. So I'm not sure if the video is going to be titled that or something else, but in my mind I think the best title is what if the Z-Fighters broke their limits. So regardless of the title of the video on YouTube, that's what I'll refer to it as. Anyways, now we can begin. One of the big parts of the scenario is that we're going to have the human fighters grow like Saiyans kinda. Again, I didn't really want them to grow too much like Saiyans. Otherwise I'd be better off doing what if the humans were Saiyans. But one trait that I do think would really help them here is if they got Zenkai boosts. That allows them to keep up, but still doesn't make them too much like Saiyans. So one of the big things here is that Zenkais aren't just going to be Saiyan exclusive traits. It's going to be for any relevant fighter in the series pretty much. That doesn't just apply to protagonists, that also applies to antagonists too. We're going to have to be a bit fair after all. This scenario will buff everyone. No one is irrelevant. Well, except maybe Yajirobe, or anyone who doesn't train for that matter. There's no excuse for a fighter's weakness here besides laziness. But where did this story begin? Well, nothing's really going to change in Dragon Ball at first. Of the 4 what-ifs that I've mentioned so far, well, the Zenkais thing happens throughout the series, and we're going to say it doesn't affect Dragon Ball too much, and as for the other 3 scenarios, all of them happen after the fact. So, let's start with Chi-Chi. After the 23rd World Tournament, well, she and Goku get married, and she ends up training with him actually. Goku does want to keep up his training, obviously. I mean, he loves fighting and growing stronger. And you know what? Chi-Chi's a fighter too, so she's not necessarily opposed to this. The big difference here is that she focuses on a lot more. Yeah, of course, at some point they do have Gohan together, which does put Chi-Chi out of commission for a little bit, but she gets right back into it. She and Goku do a lot more training together, and with a great training partner like Goku, well, she's gonna grow pretty strong. We'll see that later on. But another big thing affected by this is Gohan's upbringing. He is a bit young to begin training at this point, but he does have a slightly new upbringing. Now, this doesn't mean Chi-Chi doesn't want him to study at all. She still wants him to grow up smart and prosperous. But at the same time, she'll be able to fit in some time for his training too. I mean, it's a great way for him to bond with them. And hey, if both her and Goku are fighting too, Gohan should get involved. Train a little bit. He definitely has great people around him to do so. All the while, Roshi starts thinking. He kinda wants to get more involved. He feels like his old age kinda holds him back in some fights. He still is a very admirable fighter, and he has a lot of knowledge. But imagine, if he were young again, that could be pretty great. I mean, it worked well for King Piccolo, so what if he were to do something similar? Plus, if he were younger, well, honestly, he feels he'd probably be a lot more attractive than he is now. Krillin actually thinks this would be a great idea. It would benefit both of them for their training. And honestly, he's a bachelor too. The two of them can party a bunch. So the wish benefits them in other ways as well. Roshi seeks out Shenron, wishing for youth. Meaning he's going to do a lot more training, and Krillin's going to be doing the same as well, spending most of his time training with Roshi. But in their free time, they do go out and party. Many years pass. Goku and Chi-Chi actually don't know of the wish. I mean, at one point they did see Shenron be summoned. They saw the sky turn dark, not really knowing who summoned him or why, hoping it wasn't anything bad. But no Demon Kings are attacking them, so hey, maybe it's fine. They were honestly kind of concerned that Piccolo was the one who used the Dragon Balls at first, but they haven't seen much of him either. Soon enough though, there's a reunion at Kame House, and it ends up being the same crowd, except Chi-Chi's also involved. She doesn't really know Roshi too well, and maybe she could learn some things from him. Her husband and her father did train under him after all, so if they both benefited from it, maybe she could too. Same for Gohan, and Goku's glad to hear this. Yeah, it might be great to have Roshi train Gohan. Wouldn't be the first Gohan he trained. They arrive at Kame House, and they see a familiar, unfamiliar man step out at first, with Krillin and Bulma seeming completely unfazed. Well, Bulma was phased at first, and she explains. Yeah, she didn't recognize him either too. That's Roshi. Wait, what? Yeah, Roshi explains. He was the one who summoned Shenron, wishing for his youth just like King Piccolo did. The best part is, his youth is eternal. He already wasn't gonna die from old age, and now it's gonna be the same thing except he's gonna remain young forever. It's awesome. Oh, weird, but also cool at the same time. But Roshi, Krillin, and Bulma are just as confused when they see that kid with Goku and Chi-Chi. They didn't realize Goku had a son. Seems like everyone has a lot to catch up on. But amidst the talking, everyone senses a huge power nearby. A man descends from the sky above. It's Raditz. The group can immediately tell he's a threat, and everyone, besides Bulma really, stands on guard. Even Gohan, despite being a little bit nervous, gets ready for a battle just in case. Raditz explains who he is and why he's here. Also noticing that Gohan has a tail. He must be a hybrid Saiyan, the son of Kakarot. And that woman with him, that must be his wife. Kakarot's grown soft. But Raditz will be sure to fix that. He goes in to take Gohan, but the rest of the group jumps him, and he's surprised. He's actually meeting some sort of resistance. Individually, no one is nearly as strong as him, but collectively, they actually might be able to put up a challenge. So, he decides to make his escape quickly, grabbing Gohan and flying away. Goku and Chi-Chi are furious, and without even thinking, Goku calls Nimbus, with the two of them hopping on it, flying over to wherever Raditz went. Krillin tells him to wait up. By this time, he's learned to fly, and Roshi still doesn't want to learn the technique. It's a technique from the Crane School. But Krillin says to put that pride aside, it's useful, he should just learn it. But whatever, for now, he puts Roshi on his back and the two of them fly over. Bulma's a little pissed off being the only one left behind, so she gets into her ship and flies over. And from behind Kame House, someone else steps out. It's Piccolo. He already encountered Raditz, and he's been watching on. He didn't realize that the other fighters got this strong this quickly, and wonders, will they be able to take on Raditz? He might need to help them, but at the same time, he's curious to watch the performance. So he remains covert, flying low and following behind every last person in the group. He'll watch from a distance and intervene if needed, just to survey his enemies because Goku is still his enemy after all. And it seems Goku's not the only arch nemesis. Now, his family's involved, Chi-Chi and Gohan. So let's cover some power levels a bit here, at least for everyone who's different. For Goku, we're going to place him around 450. He's been training a lot more than normal, and has a new training partner with Chi-Chi. That doesn't mean he spent all his time training. I mean, he does have a kid to raise too, and a family to help. But there definitely was more than normal. Roshi and Krillin are both at 400, with Roshi seeing an exceptional increase from becoming young again, and the two of them relatively doing the same training. Chi-Chi's not too far behind at 350, only being a little bit behind because she wasn't training as intensely as them beforehand, and she was out of commission for a bit because of Gohan. But still, 350 is very impressive. And as for Gohan, his power is at 50, at least when he's controlled. He still doesn't realize his full strength, but 50? It's pretty amazing for him who barely has any experience at this point. And Goku and Chi-Chi have noticed his incredible potential so far. As Raditz makes his escape, he notices everyone trailing behind him. Alright, looks like he's gonna have to fight. This might actually be a bit fun for him. He drops down to where his space pod is, throwing Gohan in it, and then flying right up into the air. As everyone flies towards him, Raditz sticks out two hands, launching two powerful ki blasts right at them, with everyone dodging in the nick of time, landing on the ground nearby. Raditz looks down on them, swiping his hand to the side, launching another powerful ki blast that cuts through the ground below. Aimed mainly at Goku, he jumps up, avoiding it, floating up in the air. Now, they're still at a point where flying is kind of draining for them to do, meaning Krillin's probably a little bit tired out here, and Goku's gonna use it sparingly, but he uses it to float in front of Raditz, telling him he'll give Raditz one last chance to leave, give him his son back, and go. The two of them descend downwards towards the ground, and Raditz laughs. If he wants Gohan back, he's gonna have to kill him for it. And that's definitely not the right thing to say, especially to Goku and Chi-Chi. Infuriated, Chi-Chi immediately rushes in, attacking Raditz, and Goku joins in too. They fight with perfect synergy, dishing out quick and powerful combos to Raditz. His scouter beeps, he notices their powers increasing. Okay, that's not too crazy for a Saiyan, but this human, her powers increasing seemingly from anger. The two of them each land a punch right to Raditz's gut, knocking him back. On either side of him, Krillin and Roshi run behind Raditz, and as he flies backwards, they counter with their own attack, pushing Raditz back towards Goku and Chi-Chi. Quickly, the two of them charge up a Kamehameha, with Raditz planting his feet in the ground, trying to catch himself and trying to catch the Kamehameha. And he's able to somewhat negate it, but at the same time, Goku and Chi-Chi each launch one. With Krillin and Roshi also pretty happy to hear that she knows the technique. This hits Raditz directly, leaving him vulnerable to the combo attack from Roshi and Krillin as well. There's a massive explosion from the four beams colliding, and Raditz is sent flying back right to Goku and Chi-Chi. And then something hits Goku, the tail, that's a weak point. Quickly, he grabs Raditz's tail, holding it down as he tells everyone else to attack. Raditz begs for his life, telling Goku he'll change his ways. Let him go, he's his own brother after all. And Goku hesitates for a bit, but Raditz isn't sure if that's gonna work. He sees the other three preparing to attack him as well. He's gonna need to do something and quick. If Kakarot doesn't let go of his tail right now, then he's gonna die here. Raditz shrieks as he slices his hand at his tail, seeing this is the only way to free himself. Damn it, that was painful. Now he can't transform, and doesn't have that weak point. But if he stayed there, he probably would have ended up dying. He didn't know if Goku would have let him go, and Goku can immediately see. Raditz was just lying. He immediately gets back into fighting them, and Raditz is starting to lose more ground. He's taken some damage at this point, and with Goku and Chi-Chi's anger fueling their power, not to mention the strength that they get from doing Kamehamehas, Raditz is being worn down. They could win this, they just need a little bit of an extra push, and nearby, they hear an explosion. The space pod that Gohan was trapped in is broken, and not from his anger exploding. No, he was powerful enough to just break it with his base strength, and calmly he jumps up out of the crater, watching the situation. He needs to help. He needs to get involved somehow with this fight. Maybe that way, they'll win here. And he hears Raditz telling the others too. More Saiyans are going to arrive soon. This terrifies them, and also terrifies Gohan. But he can't falter now. He has to help them out here, and he'll have to help against any other Saiyans that come to Earth too. Consider this a practice run. He tries powering up, and watching his parents be attacked like that, and the fact that he was kidnapped by Raditz too, that fuels his anger significantly. Raditz's scouter goes off. A power of 2,000? Who is that? As he's caught between combo attacks from the others, he turns his head, seeing that the scouter's picking up on Gohan's power. The last thing he sees is Gohan launching in towards him, with a massive blast coming his way, completely eradicating Raditz. The rest of the group is barely able to get out of the way, with Bulma also above watching nearby, steering the ship clear of the blast. What the hell is that? Piccolo's also nearby too, remaining covert, seeing the same thing as well. He can't believe his eyes. All that power from a kid? A massive divot is left behind, as Gohan sits there kinda confused, with the others looking over with a look of shock on their faces. Goku looks over at Chi-Chi. Did she know that he could do that? No, she was gonna ask the same thing actually. They run over to him and thankfully he's okay, with Krillin and Roshi just looking on dumbfounded. Well, he definitely takes after Goku. Bulma lands nearby, glad to see everything seemingly okay now. But once more everyone senses a huge power nearby. Well, not as big as Raditz's, but still, concerning. Piccolo lands not too far away. He's amazed that they were able to kill him, and he tells them that he encountered Raditz as well. He was going to join in here, but wanted to see if it was actually necessary first, and clearly it wasn't. But of course, with his big ears and all, he was able to overhear everything, knowing that Saiyans are going to be coming to Earth soon. This will naturally get in the way of his plans of world domination, not to mention the fact that everyone else here is so strong. He might not be able to overcome them. The group tells Piccolo they're not looking for any trouble, and he says he's not here for that. He's surprisingly offering to help here. If they're going to encounter more foes like that, especially ones that are seemingly stronger than Raditz, they're going to be his main adversaries at that point. And the group might benefit from his help. He tells them they need to train up that kid, get him to control his power. Chi-Chi starts yelling at Piccolo and he actually recoils from this. Not only because angry Chi-Chi is scary, but she might actually have a decent chance at beating Piccolo if it came down to that. Especially with the fact that apparently she has some sort of rage boost, with Piccolo seeing that during the fight. She tells him not to judge how she raises her child. Goku finds it amusing to see her standing up to Piccolo, and Piccolo tells her to stop being stupid. He's not judging how she raises him. He's saying that that power could come in handy with the Saiyans. They need to unlock it somehow. And he would offer to help, but there's no need. They were going to have Gohan train with Roshi, but now there's a change of plans. They're going to need to do a different kind of training for the Saiyans. And Goku has an idea. He says they should head to the lookout. Maybe Kami will have some sort of idea what they should do next. So they all head up there, including Piccolo too. As much as it annoys Piccolo to encounter Kami again. Krillin's able to get in contact with the other humans as well, Tenshinhan, Yamcha, and Chaozu. And seemingly, they've been keeping up with their training too. Mainly Ten and Chaozu, but Yamcha kinda has as well. Bulma's still annoyed with him at the moment, and Yamcha thinks, maybe if he could prove his strength with the others, Bulma would want him back. Krillin calls him an idiot for fumbling in the first place, but he's confident. He'll beat the Saiyans, and he'll regain Bulma's trust. Okay, well, at least he's motivated. The humans all stay up there, training with each other, while Roshi spends most of his time trying to train Gohan. Roshi's also very powerful as is, so he could spare some time. I mean, this training does help him too, especially with Gohan growing so rapidly. But it seems he would be the best option to actually get Gohan to control this power. Kami's definitely going to help as well. But what's Piccolo going to do? Well, he doesn't necessarily want to train with everyone up here. He wants to do something different. He needs to find another way to get ahead. And the best person he can consult is Kami, thinking that he might know something useful that Piccolo doesn't. And Kami actually does have one idea. He's not too sure how well it'll work, especially because of who Piccolo is after all. I mean, he's an evil guy. But he might be able to pull some strings, getting Piccolo to train with King Kai. It's not guaranteed, but he'll see what he could do. And even with the crap that Piccolo would probably give Kami at this point, he surprisingly appreciates this. They go up to King Yemma, and Kami has to kind of vouch for Piccolo. King Yemma knows he's not a great guy, but at the same time, he is training for a kind of noble cause, I guess, and Kami has to vouch a little more. Piccolo's kind of changed his ways. I mean, he hasn't tried to take over the world in a few years. That's something. Yemma says that normally he wouldn't allow this, but under the circumstances, he'll let this slide. First of all, it'll be less work for him because that'll mean the Saiyans will send less dead people up here, and Kami did vouch for him, and that definitely means something. So while everyone else trains on the lookout, Piccolo goes down Snake Way, pursuing training with King Kai. It seems everyone's going to have their own unique method of growing towards a new power, and I've already kind of alluded to it so far. I want everyone to grow in their own unique way. Tenshinhan, Yamcha, Krillin. I got plans for them. I've alluded a bit to what's going to happen with Chi-Chi, and obviously, Goku and Gohan still have their own unique ways. There's also Roshi and Chaozu, who I have plans for. And now, Piccolo's got his own path to go down. Not that he didn't already. I mean, he's the only Namekian here. But now he's got a much different turn in his story. This isn't only going to affect his power, but also his character as a whole. He's not going to be spending that year training Gohan or training with the others. He's going to be in solitude once more, gaining power for himself. And with all these huge changes in the story, what's going to happen next? Well, this is where we'll leave off for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next time if the story continues? Let me know any thoughts and suggestions in the comments below, and drop a like if you liked the video and want to see more like this. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe as well, and hit that bell icon so you're notified about any future uploads. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.